Welcome to Political Beatdown. I'm Ben Meiselas, joined by Michael Cohen. Let's just get into it, Cohen. I want to get your take right away on the additional information we're learning about these boat strikes off the coast of Venezuela. We've heard from people who saw the video, and they're saying it's just atrocious. They're saying it's a clear war crime. These people were clearly, incapacitated, and they were not a threat. And then the United States military just killed them on September 2nd. What do you make of it all?
Well, what do I make of it? I was just talking to Malcolm Nance not too long ago. 40 years as in the military as a decoder, and one thing that I never thought about that he brought to my attention: when that strike happened, that missile hit that 20 foot aluminum boat. You have to understand that there's shrapnel and the heat from the explosion, that the two guys, for example, that were in the water, they weren't just in the water hanging on to debris like in the movie Titanic. These guys were severely burned with metal shards in their body. And on top of that, while they are in panic mode, no doubt in shock from from being blown up, not obviously expecting it, the line of bullshit that our administration is trying to feed us is that these folks were now speaking on radio, where they were getting this radio in the water that works, I have no idea, that they were calling in for reinforcements. Reinforcements to where? To what? I mean, where did they come up with this? And the fact that you have one side of the administration, you have one side of our lawmakers turning around and saying, I see absolutely nothing improper here. And then the other side turning around going, you're joking, right? What does that do to you, to me, to all of us as a community? It makes us question the honesty, the integrity of those people who are elected to represent us. And I think that's one of the biggest problems here. In fact, Ben, as you know, in my Substack today, Dead Fishermen Ruin the Narrative. That's exactly what's going on here. They are developing a narrative, which is, I want to rid America, I want to rid the world of drugs. And I think everybody would say, sure, I agree with that. But you know what we don't agree with? Turning around and making the claim that fentanyl is coming from Colombia or from Venezuela. We know where fentanyl comes from. It comes from China, and it enters the United States through Mexico. Yeah, if you told me Colombia, cocaine, sure, I get you on that. Cocaine's been around, obviously, a long time. I mean, just take a look at movies like Scarface from the 90s. All of Miami was basically built on cocaine money. You want to get rid of the coca fields? Knock yourself out. But blowing up 18-foot aluminum boats and making the allegation that these are drug runners, when in the case that I talk about in my Substack about this guy Carranza, he's a fisherman. He's a fisherman going out in the boat to do what fishermen do, catch fish.
Look, even if we were dealing with a lower level drug mule, just accept all of the facts. Lower level drug mule bringing over cocaine, right? What would normally happen in a situation like that? You would interdict, you would prosecute, you would then go and find out the network that this person is involved in to hopefully break the network at the top. People like Juan Orlando Hernandez, the former leader of Honduras, who Donald Trump just pardoned. That's where we would be ultimately going. Even if you were to interdict and you were to criminally prosecute these individuals as drug mules, they would not be given the death penalty. They would be given a prison sentence. And also, how do you know this? Well, Ben, what are you talking about? Okay, well then, how come on a later strike by the Trump regime, when there were two survivors, very similar situation, two survivors, what happened? The Trump regime took the survivors and sent them back to their country. Apparently, there was not even enough evidence, right, to prosecute these two individuals. So I'm just trying to, if there was not even evidence to criminally prosecute two people who were captured, how come they were killed the first time in another situation? And what you just have to unfortunately accept, although we shouldn't accept it as a country for future accountability, is that this is a regime of war criminals, right? And they believe no rules apply, right? Cohen, the same day you had Admiral Mitch Bradley show up there, you had also the report officially released about the signal chats involving Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, where Hegseth writes, total vindication. This shows I did nothing wrong. Great. No, the Inspector General found that you put our troops in jeopardy. They found that you engaged in heinous conduct. And the only issue here that I guess Hegseth has argued is that as the Secretary of Defense, he has original and absolute declassification authority, such that, under his argument, if he gives the nuclear codes to Xi Jinping of China, it's therefore not classified because he did it. And he has that authority to do that. That's his argument.
Does he have that authority?
You know, that's where that was Trump's argument. It's an argument, right?
Because I believe the president would have that right, but I'm not so sure that
they say the Secretary of Defense, because it's usually a position that is entrusted, has original declassification authority over their own documents.
You know what's scary, Ben? That you and I are even engaging in a conversation that the Secretary to the Department of Defense or War, whatever word you want to call it these days, we're even engaging in a conversation. If he gave the nuclear codes to Xi Jinping or to Vladimir Putin, that would be permitted. What other secretary to the Department of Defense has ever been questioned about doing something like that? Well, I mean, this is our national security that you're talking about here. I'm blown away that this topic is even one that we're allowing to take place.
And recall too, Hegseth refused to sit for an interview with the watchdog, the Inspector General. Hegseth refused to turn over his phone to the watchdog and the Inspector General. So the information that we have is only based on the report by The Atlantic, because it just so happened that Hegseth and the others on the chat inadvertently let in a reporter at The Atlantic into the chat. So the only thing the Inspector General went on was what we already knew that was public. Now, here's the thing, too, that deserves more attention. And the ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee, Jim Himes, spoke with me about this, the video that we just released. They, the military, the Department of Defense, Cohen, and I think our brigaders may not know this, actually set up a SCIF, a sensitive compartmented information facility, at Hegseth's home, right, while this was taking place. And they gave Hegseth a secure phone, not his personal phone. Hegseth leaves the SCIF, picks up his personal phone, and then sends messages on it that were supposed to be done inside the SCIF.
Using the classified phone, which is the craziest thing in the world.
Using his personal phone.
Yes. Yeah, he used
with the classified information. Exactly.
It's beyond. It's almost like I don't even know. Honestly, I don't know if I could think of an analogy that would be stupider than what Hegseth did, other than to say the schmuck didn't do it once. He did it twice. I mean, talk about not learning from your mistake the first time. This idiot and a half didn't just do it once, Signalgate 1, but you had a sequel to it, Signalgate 2. I mean, you made it sound like he was, I don't know, sending a group chat about who's coming over for pizza and I don't know, a party. I mean, that's what you use Signal for. He's using it for the transmission of information that places our military, our lives as well, in jeopardy. And all they want to do is say, it's okay. It's okay. And why is it okay? Because we did it. We did it. And because we did it means that we were allowed. It's legal. It's smart. It's everything acceptable until the rest of us turn around and we say, oh, hell no. No, it's not. And we have to continue to hold them to account for all of these stupid things. If we would actually hold them to account in the same manner and with the same force and effect that we actually displayed when Jimmy Kimmel was taken off air, none of this bullshit would happen. It's amazing how angry the population got over Jimmy Kimmel being canceled. But we didn't see the same sort of anger and fury and effect when Pete Hegseth put out this information. Yeah, it became a story. People were reporting how dumb this is and so on. But I didn't see the same anger that we saw over something like Jimmy Kimmel being canceled. And what ended up happening? America turned around and voiced its opinion. And what did ABC Disney do? They folded like a cheap lawn chair.
Yeah. And, just think also, are foreign intelligence services accessing these phones, these personal phones and Signal? Undisputedly, yes. And how do we know that other than using our common sense? Well, we saw with Witkoff. Witkoff's Signal chat with the Russians, Yuri Yushchev, Kirill Dmitriev, Witkoff, Kushner. Who do you think got those? How do you think Bloomberg got that, right? It was likely European intelligence, probably some of the former intelligence that used to work with the U.S. against Russia, with our capabilities, now has to do that to Americans. So I can pretty much assure you that everybody from Mossad in Israel to UK's intelligence service to other European intelligence services have access to these phones. I could also tell you that our enemies have access to these phones as well.
True.
And so certainly Russia, China, Iran, who is working with Yemen, where these strikes take place, they have access to it. So the broader question, though, here also, Cohen, the same way I asked with Witkoff, what else is there that we don't know about yet? And when it comes to Hegseth, seriously, he's likely been bragging about his missions more than the one time that the reporter was accidentally put on the chain, right? What does China have now and these foreign intelligence services have? Do they have all of our plans? Do they know about all of our, he brags likely, I'm giving you my opinion, but Hegseth likely brags, in my opinion, about the new planes we're developing and stealth technology, right? That's just the kind of guy he is. How much peril have we been in by these people?
A lot. And that's really the big problem. They all talk. Not only do they talk, there is a reason. There is a real reason why you send legitimate diplomats and people who have experience into places like Moscow. And let me give you one very, very clear reason why. Well, are you aware that if you are an American, certainly if you are Jared Kushner or Steve Witkoff, the dynamic duo of dumbfoundery, right? And you go to Russia and you have your cell phone with you, the second that you step off that plane, they already are in the process of downloading every single thing that's on your phone. It's unbelievable. That's how their system works. It's how they capture you. These idiots probably took their cell phones with them, meaning that now Russia has every single email that they put out for all eternity. Whatever's listed on, whatever exists in your Google account, whatever exists in your Signal accounts, whatever exists anywhere, they have the ability to clone your phone literally the second that you step off the plane, which is why people who know anything about Russia will tell you, you take your personal cell phone and what do? You leave it at home. You go with a government-issued phone that is encrypted. So in that way you can communicate back to Washington if necessary. You can speak to your family while you're there without having to worry that your phone is being cloned. And I don't understand. I truly don't. How stupid these people can be. How inexperienced that they are. And this inexperience puts all of us in jeopardy.
Horrific, horrific stuff. Then did you follow that press conference that Donald Trump just had with Rwanda and Congo? Did you catch that?
I caught part of it.
I
I'm so nauseated by all of these pressers. I wish to God, Ben, they would let you or me into one of these pressers. I would love the time where Trump would turn around and call a woman in my presence Piggy or something stupid like that. All right. And then call on me. No, Mr. President, I'd like to ask the same question that Piggy over here just asked. All right. Or I would say something probably that would get me, I don't know, either shot by Secret Service or definitively removed from the briefing room. But the fact that they don't stand up for each other, the fact that, you can't get an honest answer out of anyone, not from Machine Gun Lips Levitt all the way up to the president's press conferences. We go there and we waste our time watching this stupidity. That cabinet meeting the other day, the glorification of Trump by every single Mr. President. Thank God, the year is almost over. What a tremendous year that you've had. In fact, your year has been so great. You have solved 8, 9, maybe even 10 wars. Who knows? Who knows, Mr. President? Nobody can do what you do. In fact, sir, you have accomplished more in 12 months than every other president combined in the history of our 250 years. And that's why I believe that you should change the name on the building from the Building for International Peace to the Donald J. Trump, Building for International Peace. I mean, at some point in time, it's like that V8 commercial. Someone's got to smack somebody in the head and say, wake the fuck up.
Yeah, because the war is still going on in Congo. Like, the issue in Congo is you have Congo and Rwanda, and then there is a kind of terroristic back group that Rwanda denies involvement with called M23. And there's other ISIL-related groups that are operating inside Congo and killing people, like today. Like, there's death going on in Congo today. And there's not a peace that exists right now. Rwanda denies that it has involvement with M23. M23 refuses to be a signatory to any peace deal. So Donald Trump brings in the leaders of Congo and Rwanda to parade them in front of a banner that says peace in Africa or whatever. And it isn't that. And I'm sick and tired of a loser presidency. Like, it's just a group of losers. Like, there's no peace. What are you doing? Now I want you to watch this moment where a reporter asks Donald Trump, so we appreciate, it's a reporter from Africa too, so she's got to, she's acting nice. She goes, we appreciate the historic peace announcement today. Listen carefully, it's low what she says. She goes, but people are currently still dying right now in Congo and troops are still there. So when is that going to change? Watch this.
I think you're going to see very quickly, I think you're going to see things happen. This is something that was not doable, according to a lot of people, and not only is it doable, I think it's going to be a great miracle. These two gentlemen are leaders, they're great leaders, and they're going to prove that in the coming months and years. And I think you're going to see very immediate results. I have confidence that that's what's going to happen. Thank you very much, everybody.
No more tough questions. So thank you, whoever. Thank you for coming. Thank you for listening to this. Blah, blah, blah. Let me now shake the hand, and I'm then going to go Purell myself. I mean, it's so wrong what they're doing, what this administration in the divisiveness, the racism, the sexism, the misogyny, the xenophobia, homophobia, transphobia, Islamophobia, anti-Semitism that's going on. This is all wrong. This is so not who we are. And that's why I say all the time, you could watch whatever bullshit that you want on television, and you could have as many fucking people turn around and say to you, this is my opinion, like the stupidity that we all got forced to watch yesterday as mainstream cable news horse shit sat there showing you about a dozen photos of the inside and the exterior of Jeffrey Epstein's house on Epstein Island in Little St. James. All of a sudden, I'm sitting there and I'm watching, well, show me something that's relevant. Tell me something that's relevant. Oh my God, I can't imagine what these girls, these young children must have felt like inside this house of horrors. Really? I don't know. Looks like a pretty nice fucking house to me on the beach. What took place inside is horrific. I mean, I thought I was watching an episode of $1 Million Listing. I was waiting for Ryan Serhant in his short pants to come running out and start walking around the house and saying, this could all be yours for just a mere $25 million. You could own it. This was the stupidest waste of time. But not here on Midas Touch Network. We're sitting here and we dive into the stuff that is relevant to us. I mean, this is not even... I want one person to tell me what those photos, the interior and exterior of the house. So you saw pictures of a dentist chair, or you saw a massage room, or you saw the movie room or the kitchen. Yay, yay. Now I'm so much smarter for seeing those. I know everything that took place. I know who was there. I know who's responsible for raping and sex trafficking children. I feel so much smarter. And they played it one after the other after the other. Every fucking person on television, MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, they're all sitting there showing it. And then funny, because Fox News, for the first time, they're turning and they're saying, can somebody please tell me what these photos show? I've been screaming that same shit all day long. What's the point? Because they're just trying to keep your attention. They're dumbing us down. And we can't allow to be dummied down. And definitely, nobody's going to get dummied down here on the Midas Touch Network. And it's why I'm saying to everybody, fuck them. All right? Honestly, they're worthless. What I'm asking everybody to do right here and right now, make an oath that before the new year, you will bring one person, family, friend, neighbor. It could be a colleague at work. It could be your postman. I don't care. One person. Walk them through and show them how to subscribe to the Midas Touch Network. Let's go from almost 6 million people, 5.5 million, to 11, 12 million overnight. Let's do it. Do you have any idea how much ultimate power that then provides to a platform within which to get things done? No more of this nonsense, just listening to them ramble off stupidity and bullshit so that they could turn around and make a profit and give it off to their shareholders. Fuck that. No more of that. We have 11 months to get our shit together. We don't want to see another Tennessee. And all of a sudden you start hearing, oh my God, Trump won this district by 22 points and Bear only lost by 9.5 points. Let me be clear to each and every one of you how I see this. If you lose by one vote, you still lose. All right? You still lose by one vote. I don't care if Trump had 22% and then, we picked up 13 points and so on in a swing. What does that do? By the way, Mike Johnson, after less than 48 hours, already swore in Van Epps. Already swore him in. Not the 2+ months that it took for Grijalda. All right? No, No. Within literally 48 hours, this guy's already sworn in. You understand the point here? Do you understand the necessity that you bring to this community? You are the most important part of this community, plain and simple. And all I keep asking is, let's grow this community so big that all of us, our voices cannot be quieted.
You know, I just, when you hold a press conference the way Trump did today, and then you're asked a question, well, the troops are still there and the killing is still happening, and you've announced a peace deal. And when will that end? And the response is 2 weeks, in a couple of months, these guys will figure it out. And he doesn't understand the dynamic between Rwanda and Congo, and he's sleeping through it. Jeremy, do we have one of the clips of him sleeping today through this thing again? While they're talking, let's just play a clip.
Uhuru Kenyatta, who I can see here in the room, these two great Africans who are at the beginning, who started the Rwanda and the Nairobi processes. And beyond them, I wish to thank also all of the African leaders who contributed to help us in this struggle. And I do hope that we have, yes, reached the end. The Washington Agreement.
But also imagine at the peace deal, like imagine World War II. I hope we have reached the end. Well, then it's not a peace deal. That's not the end of the war. If you hope you're going to do something in the future, and it's not hope, it's fraud. And it's every one of these things, every single one of them. And the issue also is that our adversaries take advantage of it. I mean, take China, for example. China's still saying, we're not going to give you our rare earth elements. We're not going to buy the soybeans unless you now remove sanctions for potential Chinese espionage into the United States. And Donald Trump says, yep, we'll remove it. China says, you know what? Don't allow the president of Taiwan to use American airspace, Donald, or else. And Trump says, okay, we won't do that. And China goes through its list of things, and Donald Trump backs down to each of them. And at the end of the day, Cohen, this is not the first time China has threatened these things, although they didn't actually restrict rare earths and soybeans under Biden. They didn't do that. They do it under Trump because they know how weak he is and he folds. They knew if they did that to Biden, that Biden would take counteractions with our allies.
Exactly.
Let's talk about that and more. I want to take our first quick break of the show. A reminder, subscribe to Michael Cohen's audio podcast, Mea Culpa, wherever you get your audio podcasts.
By the way, you know who's on tomorrow?
Who?
Eric Swalwell, who's running for governor, and most probably will win.
Congressmember Swalwell joining Michael Cohen. Also, check out his Substack. Just search Michael Cohen there. Subscribe to Michael Cohen's YouTube channel at The Michael Cohen Show. That YouTube channel is on fire. And by the way, if my internet's glitchy, it's Spectrum. I'm so frustrated with Spectrum right now. I can't even begin to tell y'all. It's a whole Spectrum thing. And I want to be able to work with my baby girl here. I don't want to leave the house. I made this setup.
You know, we're literally on the YouTube channel. I'm literally right at the cusp of 500,000 subscribers, thanks to many of you. I know some of you don't like me, and I wish you would stay away. But to those of you that want to hear facts, want to hear the truth from somebody who actually knows facts and knows the truth of what's going on, no innuendo, no hypotheticals, no conspiracy bullshit theories, come join me over there on YouTube.
Let's take our first and only quick break of the show.
You ever open up your closet, you put on a shirt, and instantly you wonder why clothing companies hate us? Too tight in one spot, ballooning out in another, like it's personally offended by your existence. Well, that used to be my entire wardrobe until I switched to True Classic. I mean, these guys had one mission in mind: premium, comfortable clothing for real people who don't want to drop designer money just to look like they bothered to get dressed. And clearly, the mission worked. 25 million shirts, 5 million customers, 200,000 five-star reviews. That's not a fan base. That's a movement. But here's what hooked me. True classic isn't about fashion theater. It's about confidence. You throw one on and suddenly the shirt fits the way shirts are supposed to fit. Tailored where you want it. Relaxed where you need it. No bunching, no weird shoulder puff, no stiff fabric making you feel like, I don't know, you're wearing a cardboard cutout of yourself. And now they've got options for everyone, men, women, kids, which makes holiday gifting dangerously easy. And instead of guessing sizes or, I don't know, buying someone a sweater they'll pretend to like for exactly 14 seconds, you give them something that they'll actually wear. And not just once, like for real. I've been wearing True Classic for a while now, and I'm telling you, the moment it goes on, you feel the difference. It's not trying too hard. It's not underperforming. It's just a clean, sharp, comfortable fit that makes getting dressed the easiest part of your day. And I'll take that as a win. So skip the pricey designer stuff that costs more than a therapy session. Give comfort, give confidence, give True Classic. And you could grab them at Amazon, Target, Costco, Sam's Club, or avoid humanity entirely and just order straight from trueclassic.com/beat. So upgrade your wardrobe and save on True Classic at trueclassic.com/beat. That's True Classic, TrueClassic.com/beat. Go now.
Welcome back to Political Beatdown.
By the way, they really do have great shirts. They're comfortable. It's not just their shirts. They have underwear. They have sweatpants. I love all that stuff.
Who are you going to give the two-finger salute to today, Cohen?
You know, obviously it's got to be Pete Hegseth. But while I'm doing it with Pete Hegseth, I'm disgusted by Admiral Bradley. You're talking about a guy who has risen the ranks to one of two of the top SEALs, Admiral, who turns around, goes before members of Congress and doesn't remember his oath to the American people, to the Constitution, and he's playing the entire game. And I'm thinking to myself, where's he going to end up? Maybe in Congress? Right? Is that what the game is? There's something going on here. They're making him into the fall guy. Really? You're going to be made into the fall guy? Not for a war crime. I want to be clear to all of you. This is not a war crime, what they're doing in terms of the blowing up of the 20 plus boats in the Caribbean. This is murder one. And I say that's not a war crime because let me be crystal clear about something. I'm not aware. And if I'm not aware, I'm pretty sure that I'm right. I'm not aware that America is at war right now with Venezuela or Colombia. So therefore, it's not a war crime. It's fucking murder one. And to the Admiral, to Pete Hegseth, to all of those that just think that, I don't know, blowing these boats up like they're playing Fortnite is okay. Fuck you all. It's not. These people have families. These folks have families. And as Ben said before, even if they are moving cocaine or marijuana or whatever, the punishment is not murder. It's not being blown up. And it's enough already, because not only does it make us look stupid and weak in the eyes of the world, it puts our military at jeopardy for counterstrikes. And that's not acceptable.
Yeah, I mean, the Admiral today, I mean, I spoke with Congressman.
It's cruel. It's just cruel.
I don't know. There's going to be, we all need to see that video, because as much as we don't want to watch it, I think we all need to understand what the hell is happening here. And the fact that the United States released the first part of it, but didn't release the second part.
Yep.
Isn't that kind of all? Isn't their whole thing like that, though, Cohen? With the Epstein file, we'll release these emails, but not the ones that have Donald Trump's name on it, right? That's where it's heading. We're going to, everything's a cover up on top of a cover up, including his health. Can we see the MRI results? Nah, we're just going to show you a doctor's note. Well, what's the doctor's going to say? That he got preventative MRIs of the abdomen. That's not really a thing. Preventative MRIs.
He scored an A on
An
his
A.
cognitive, an A plus on his cognitive test. He scored an A plus on his MRI. I just went for an MRI for my back. I didn't score an A plus. In fact, I didn't score anything at all because that's not how you read an MRI.
There's so much of it, Cohen, that should shock people's conscience every day. It's conscious, shocking behavior, which, by the way, is the standard for intentional infliction of emotional distress under the law. Does it shock your conscience? And yet, the way it's reported still, not on the Midas Touch, but elsewhere, tends to still be through a political framework of, here's the administration, here's another side, here they fight over the issue, versus these are sick, deranged humans, man. These are freaking war criminals. This is grotesque. And could you imagine if former President Biden said, yeah, I got an A on my MRI? Do you know on Fox every day for a whole week, they would run that, and then the whole month, and by the end of it, I mean, heck, with Democrats, George Clooney said the guy's old. We know he's old. He's gone. George Clooney to write an op-ed, basically. Donald Trump's talking about acing MRIs, cognitive exams every time there are war crimes taking place. You know the story of that Institute of Peace, Cohen, though, right? Like, Trump fired the board of the whole Institute of Peace. Then the Institute of Peace board filed a lawsuit. A federal court ruled that Trump's termination was unlawful. Trump rushes to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court temporarily pauses on the shadow docket the federal court ruling. And then Trump immediately has Rubio put his name on it and call it the Donald J. Trump Institute of Peace, when the guy's out there engaged in war crimes off the coast of Venezuela. I mean,
except his comment is, why should his name not be on that building? He has settled more wars, 8, maybe even 9 or 10, than any other president in the history of our country. I mean, think about, I really want people to understand this too, Ben, on what's going on here. He's branding the United States, Trump. There's going to be a 250th anniversary coin coming out very soon. The front and back of that coin is not a commemoration to the United States of America and our struggles over 250 years, where we were, where we are today, the great things that are America. The front is going to be Donald's face. The back is going to be his fight, fight, fight image. That's our commemorative coin. There's actually a bill before Congress right now to carve Trump's image into Mount Rushmore, and I shit you not. On top of that, there's hanging from another building a 50 by 50 foot depiction of Trump, his headshot. On top of that, they're now in the process of funding the building of the Arch de Trump, which is going to be in the mall leading up, I think, to the Lincoln Memorial, which is a sort of a rendering off of the Arch de Triomphe, but this is the Arch de Trump. And on top of that, there's one more. Oh yeah, the arts, it was the Kennedy Art Center, is now the Trump Arts Center. And wait, I'm missing a few more, aren't I, Ben? There's one more that I remember thinking of. It'll come to me. My point is, at some point oh yeah, what about the Trump Ballroom? Seriously? I mean, at some point in time, has anybody ever seen anything like this by any other president ever? Normally naming rights come in after the president is deceased to honor that individual. Isn't that what it's supposed to be about? But he's changing all of the rules. And the worst part is we're allowing it.
That's why we definitely need in the new year bigger no kings, peaceful protests. Those have to expand, and that's where the people, we're going to be the only ones who are going to be able to save ourselves, right? And I think we showed that. I think politicians are catching on to what the people are demanding because they were so incongruous to the way people were feeling. They were also speaking around us, speaking down to us. And even when they use the word affordability, I just had an interview with New York City Mayor-elect Mamdani, and I said, lots of people are using the word affordability, but imitation's a great form of flattery. But you actually got to you got to walk the walk and not just talk the talk. And he talked to me about what he's doing. He talked to me about doing rent freezes right away, and a lot of people are mimicking that message right now, although Trump says it's the biggest con ever, the word affordability.
Except he also said that he was the affordability president. So which one is it?
Yeah, well, and you also saw today, I don't know if you picked it up, but I think we have the clip of it. Why don't we play the clip of it from Fox about the job losses over the past year? To show people that one. Let's use the Fox clip, Jeremy, of job losses.
Employers have announced 1.1 million job cuts in the first 11 months of this year, which is a 54% increase from the same time frame last year. Job cuts, though, are down from October to November. This signifies the cooling job market that we've seen for some time now, Stu, but it could be good news for the president.
Sure, it's great news. So to any one of you that's out there that lost your job, whether it was a Doge cut or AI is replacing you and you're part of that 1.1 million, this could be good news for you. No, this is really good news because now, since you don't have to get up and go to work, you can get up and, I don't know, go walk through the park. Can't afford to buy a bottle of water if you get thirsty, but that's not the point. The point is you have the ability to go out there and to walk and to breathe in fresh air. I don't even know how they rationalize, Ben, the stupidity, which is, again, why I turn around and say that lamestream cable news horse shit, it's poison. It's poisoning people's brains.
Well, especially when the news, this is what they do. This is their format. And you've seen it. Their format is 30 seconds of the news story, bring in this guest, fight against each other, and then go to a commercial break. How does the audience understand what the hell they just watched or observed? How do they understand?
It's a glorified episode of Jerry Springer. And that's what I'm now finding as well. Late night CNN, I can't watch it anymore. I can't watch Scott Jennings. I can't watch when they bring on half of those, those Republican strategists. There's like, there really wasn't any sexual assaults that were taking place. Nobody's been able to prove that yet. And they actually say stupid shit like that. You're right. Nobody has seen those files. So when they release them, then you will know. Oh, yeah. You know how else you know? Because the people who were sexually trafficked, raped, and abused have said so themselves. I mean, it's amazing how they can rationalize anything. These boat strikes are necessary. That, oh my God, with the boats, the 20-plus boats had enough fentanyl on it in order to kill every single American 5 times over. Did you hear that line of stupidity, Ben?
Yeah, hundreds of millions of it. That's what Christine Holmes said. Hundreds of millions of Americans would have died if they didn't kill these boats. It's like, just stop treating us like we're stupid. Like, to that point, Adam Mockler goes on that fight show and he actually does a really good job. And I like how good he does. But that whole format to me is ridiculous. And by the way, I think the host does a good job too. I'm trying to blank on her name.
You're talking about either what do you call it? Laura Coates or what is her name again? Whatever.
So someone in the chat will know what her name is. Abby Phillips.
Abby Phillips is right.
By the way, she's great.
I've been on her show.
I think she's a great debater. I think she's smart. But what's the point? Like last night, there was a Republican MAGA guy on, and she was just asking the person, okay, so will you at least agree with me that the fentanyl's not coming from Venezuela, and that even most of the cocaine right now is coming through routes that really arrive not through Miami anymore, and these ships don't have enough fuel to even get there. But even the cocaine gets routed through Central America or South America or Mexico and then comes around the other way versus, it's not coming through the sea on the East Coast really anymore. And there's no fentanyl, zero. Like, do we all agree? And the guy's like, but Donald J. Trump said, it's like, okay, that's not the question. Can we just agree to the underlying facts here that Venezuela is not bringing in the fentanyl?
The way that they try to turn around and to rationalize it, Ben, they turn around and they say, Donald Trump is the only president who's actually doing something to rid this country and the world of drugs. And can we not all but agree that drugs are bad and that drugs kill people and so on? And that, is there anybody at this table that says that these drugs are good, that we should just open up our borders and let them in with all of these illegals like these Somalians and these Nigerians and all of these third world garbage nations? These are the things that these ignorant assholes say every single night. And there's not one of us sitting here in this group right now that would say, yeah, sure, we should open up the borders, allow them to bring in whatever drugs they want, fentanyl, cocaine, heroin. Does it make a difference? Make some meth while you're at it or some whatever. I mean, of course not. But that's not the question, nor is it the issue. They blew up a boat of a man who went out to go fishing because that's his livelihood. Imagine if hypothetically they did that to a cruise liner. They said, no. That cruise liner, the entire bottom is filled. There could be 1,000 people with the size of these cruise liners these days. There could be even more than that. So just imagine if they blow that up simply because, I don't know, because Pete Hegseth turns around and says that there's fentanyl on board. I mean, that's where we're at right now. And that's why this is so dangerous. And that's why I thank each and every one of you for being here with Ben and I week in and week out, because we are making a difference. And I'm telling you, we cannot allow empathy or apathy within which to stop us from continuing this fight. Otherwise, we could end up with another situation like what just took place in Tennessee.
Look, I'm going to go call and politely tell Spectrum that I'm angry at them right now. I want everybody to make sure you subscribe to Michael Cohen's Substack, his YouTube at The Michael Cohen Show, the Mea Culpa audio podcast. Subscribe to all of those. It's always a pleasure doing this with you, Michael, and all of the Beatdown Brigaders. I feel a lot of momentum heading into next year, but we got to keep this up and keep building this community. So thank you, everybody, for all that you do. We're grateful for you, and shout out to the Brigaders and shout out to the Midas Mighty. Thanks,
and a two-finger statement to Spectrum.
Exactly. Call them right. They'll tell them right now.